This video is titled East Lake Redemption. So right now I'm trying to get a feel for the lift position I'm in. It's a very tight area. It was very tight getting back there with the lift pushing with the skid steer. I have the tree to my left, vinyl fence to the right, power lines behind me, pull cage to the front left of the lift. Even my mom from a distance can only record me from the opposite side of the tree. For a good majority of the day, 2 to 3 hours, I was cutting in tiny pieces or having to use my Zubat and then hold the branch that I cut and then go back down to that same awkward lift positioning, toss into the backyard, the ditch, or directly on top of the lift a couple times. It had to be done. So I either used a still 192 TC to cut it and then put it back in the sheet, grab it, and then hold that branch above and cut it into tiny little pieces because of how tight of an area it was. I didn't want to cause any damage and I wanted to successfully remove it. As you can see, I kind of break through the middle, get to the top here, starting to have a little bit more freedom. But a lot of the cuts I'm having to make above my head because I'm fully extended in an awkward lift position. And I don't know if you can see those power lines, but they're right there. I had just gotten a brand new Zubat from Over Zinc, and I think by the second day it was already dull. That is a coastal live oak right there.
Yeah, this thing down today. We were here a few weeks ago. We had to take a break and get a lift. We need to explain that.
So originally I had attempted to climb this without the lift. I was confident in my abilities, and despite the live lines, I was confident I could pull it off. It was a challenge for me, and I love challenges being an arborist in this trade. The more you challenge yourself, the better you become. But in this case, it was one of those challenges that could have very well forced me out of the trade due to what happened to William. I felt as though I had failed not only myself, my business, and, I was questioning what I did. It took a while to get that confidence in Nacho back, and I knew the beginning of that had to come with the successful removal of this tree, but doing it safely via lift. There was no guarantee that the lift was going to fit back there. I had an approximate measurement, and the only way I was going to get back there was with the skid steer. And I made it happen. I got it in the lift position. I think you could definitely say I bit off more than I could chew right here. I was, questioning myself, right there, but afterwards I kind of straightened up. as much as I wanted to just go for the branches that were near the live lines, you know, get it over with, that was what's going through my mind, you know, get the branches that were going towards the live lines over with. It was, while I was up there, it was like an inch I couldn't scratch, but I had to fully flush cut each lead in order for the lift to get where I needed it to be without it being unsafe or not being able to throw behind me and then have it, you know, the lead I didn't flush cut either catch it and cause it to bounce where I didn't want it to go, so to speak. But if you look closely in the video, you get those 1, 2, 3 leads that are going towards those lines, and I just like could not wait to get to it. I was like, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
On the right side, still looks like a heart.
Yeah, some people are gonna say like, oh, why were you removing them live lines, this, and that. Well, you know, just to shade the video or to be ignorant or stupid. Well, you see, when you run a business as a self-employed arborist, you accept money for your skills and removing trees. It just sometimes happen to be near power lines, live lines, where FPL and the company that they subcontract will not touch because it is on a customer's property. And the customer wants it gone for their reasons, not because you're tree hugging, fucking complaining, goddamn questioning, throwing shade ass, having motherfuckers. You know who you are. Yeah. You know, it needs to be done, and I'm willing to do it for money. And that's what happened. I took money to do the job. Yeah, maybe, you know, I made a mistake. You know, mistakes were made. But ultimately, I took a job for money near power lines. And that's why we do. We don't do it for free. This job is not easy. And those of us who are in it, we're just in it for the fucking glory. Alright, so at this point at the tree, I'm tackling the branches that are going towards the live lines. I'm literally cutting in such tiny pieces, even the tiny little dead sticks, and I'm carefully, like, you know, lining up where I'm throwing everything. And, you know, there are times where it seems like I blow up, and I just, like, you know, take over. I'm very confident, you know, especially with the Zubat. But there are also times where that, you know, that quickness and that rushing is not a good thing. You learn that, you know, here and there. But I started to get very emotional. I was thinking about Will, and
all that is cut off of it.
You know, it's very, very surreal to be back there. I still had the idea that I might fail. You know, what if I die while my mom is down there? You know, so there are lots of fear factors, but I knew that ultimately if I just took it step by step and trusted my instincts, that I would get it done. And I think right here, my mom didn't record what was, you know, the actual trimming contact, or what I actually did to the branches to make sure they didn't fall towards the live lines. Like, I basically made a back cut with the Zubat and pulled it towards me between the lift and whatnot, and then I had it, you know, sit on my shoulders and I was able to throw it behind me. It's crazy. I mean, I didn't know she didn't record it. I was kind of upset she didn't, but I understood why she didn't. So now that the branches near the live lines are taken care of, like a sigh of relief, My pace had picked up. I was still cutting a tiny piece into the tight spot, but I was throwing branches left and right, measuring them up, confident, very aggressive. Knew that I was in a good position to finish off this tree. I don't know if you saw that last part, but the chainsaw kicking, instead of me throwing it, you can kick the log with the chainsaw, but that's actually, it could really backfire on you because it slings the chain and fucks up the sprocket, but it's so worth it. So very, very worth it. And I attempted to backwards control the nifty lift. So confident I was after those branches. Turned around and of course was doing correct procedure in your control of the lift. This is where the recording stops. I finished the remaining top half of the tree myself. My mother was not recording. I sent her home. It's very emotional for both of us. I wanted her to get some rest for the following day. All I have to say is that, we go through tests, trials, and tribulations, and you hear stories of a guy who maybe had an employee go through the chipper or like a huge equipment failure or got injured or had someone get injured on the job and then they got out of it, because they thought maybe it wasn't for them. I could have done the same thing, and even some people mentioned it or maybe were expecting me to do that, and I did not. I kept going and I challenged myself because I love what I do. And those of you who thought because of what happened to William was an excuse for you to say that I don't belong in this trade, I say, you're wrong. I'm here. And I'll continue to do what I do, whether you like it or not. I would say that this situation with William and Eastlake and this tree set the stone for many, many more things, like with the mentality that I wouldn't have if I didn't actually go through that situation. After this job, I had basically the entire neighborhood toss away the tree guy and have me work for him because they knew that I came back and did that. They knew that I didn't give up. And the homeowner told everyone what happened and how I handled it. And greatness has no one definition. My greatness will be defined by this moment, if not by many more moments. Never give up. If you love what you do, keep going.